One. We're live. Hello, everyone. This is a new politics and business show called The Grill with T and Tyson. I'm T, and there's Tyson. It's a new business show where you get in depth answers to all your questions. Malik Chukwudi is a candidate in the YIG mayoral elections, and he joins us tonight on The Grill. Hi, Malik. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Who is Malik Chukwudi?
Uh, Malik Chukwudi is someone who never actually um, thought about running for office, but I knew I wanted to do something something to do with helping the homeless and maybe through the church, but not necessarily through politics. Um, but years I worked with the city had opened my eyes to a lot of discrepancies that's happening with the city that actually pushed me towards that direction. Um, and also understanding what's happening in the world. I realized that it'd be hard to actually change the status quo if you're not in power. You can try as much as you can to change things, but things may not necessarily change that much. But when you're in a position of power, you can be able to influence certain things, and that's what I think. That's what brought me into politics in the first place. And secondly is the waste that I've seen within the city of Edmonton, and also the management is the city is poorly managed, and the wrong people are in position of power. The wrong people are running events. Most of them have not done the job before. They've never been a supervisor before. They've never been a foreman before. They didn't have any education that relates to what they were in charge of. So what happens is they promote the wrong people. They favor the wrong people, and a lot of time wasted not doing anything. So these are one of the reasons that I feel like the city should be more transparent, um, because our salaries are being paid by taxpayers. So we should be more proactive and work harder to do things more efficiently. And also for the fact that I've had prior experience as a country manager for an oil company in the Middle East, that had opened my eyes. I mean, I've traveled the world over. I speak 5 different languages. That had opened my eyes to how the world works, more like foreign policy, if you could say. Um, I've worked with people from different creed, different culture, different nationality. Um, Speak their languages, so it's coming from there to work for the city was a little bit frustrating because over there we work hard. We for the investors, we work hard to build portfolios. We work hard to compete. We make sure that our revenue is up to par, and we do what we can do um, through sales, training, building a team, and having a goal and a focus as to what we want to achieve. Then coming to the city, there doesn't seem to be any focus to where we go. People just show up for work. What are we doing today? Well, maybe we should go and walk on Whiteout. Maybe we should go and walk on Yellowhead. Maybe we should go walk on um, Gateway Boulevard. There's no strategy. There's no plan. It's just whatever they decide. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So you can actually go to work for complete 1 year with the city and not have a job description. You can't say this is what I'm good at. It's it's not happening there. So, but then you come to counselors. I realize most counselors, obviously, they don't have to be civil engineers. They don't have to be civil engineers like me to understand. They might not have a degree in accounting. They might not have um, any degree in economics. So there are just guys that decide to run for office. They won, they get elected, they're there. But then you present issues like budgeting issues like taxes and dealing with the union labor 30 city of Edmonton labor union. They've never in their life ever dealt with such issues where you have to sit with someone and negotiate certain issues for the common good, not to favor your party or favor your constituents, but we are all in this together to move Edmonton forward. Most of them never had the opportunity or chances to be in any position of authority. So here they are being a councillor. You present the budget for snow removal for the city. They don't know anything about snow removal. So you present $5 million budget, $3 million budget, $10 million budget. They endorse it. Fine. That's to remove snow for the city? Yeah, sure. Why not? So no one asks questions. How many departments are in the city? What are the number of city employees that are actually on shift doing snow removal? How many trucks are available? How many equipment are available? You know, what shift? How many shifts you guys work? Morning, afternoon, night shift. You know, who is the shift foreman? How many shift foremen do we have all winter, 6 months? So you do the math, and how many ton of sand and gravel and salt did we bring in different departments? You know, to actually justify the amount that we asked for snow removal. So they don't ask that, they don't know that, so they just endorse it and say, hey, here's the money, yeah, go ahead. Then sometimes they decide they're not going to give enough money like the last 2 years. They don't want to pay the overtime, and of course, guys refuse to work shift anymore, and you have few guys that cannot cover all of Edmonton. Edmonton is growing, so you need a lot of boots on the ground to actually do the work, and they have to be trained. Most of them have never driven a tandem truck in their life. They need to be trained. They need to get their 40 hours. They need to get their class 3 with air brakes. Those are important. I don't think the council, those in council understands that. So before you have someone to plow snow, operating a tandem truck, whether it's a belly plow or front mount plow or to stand, it has to be trained for a long time for that person to become confident to be able to plow snow. So
Malik, I'm going to jump in now. We've used far more than 3 minutes with your introduction, but thank you. We get a picture now of who is Malik. Tyson.
Hello.
hey, Tyson, yeah.
Hello, Malik. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you about your platform.
Yes.
And item number 1 on your website, and you've got, I mean, everyone puts very, big fancy titles and, because you can only put so much on there and people don't want to read through all the details all the time. Some people do, but you got to get across your theme and your elevator pitch in, right? So number 1 on your list is promote business growth environment here in Edmonton. Great. I mean, a lot of people want that. So could you very quickly, why did you choose this as part of your platform? And 2, can you explain what you want to accomplish?
Because whether we like it or not, one of these days we need to diversify businesses here in Edmonton. The oil isn't gonna last forever, and there are countries. If you go to Greece, Italy, certain countries that I've traveled to do not have oil and gas, but tourism is the mainstay of the economy. People come there, they spend their tax dollars, and they spend their earnings or whatever they earned through the year. Some people wait to the end of the year, they get their money, they travel to Italy, they travel to Greece, they travel to Scotland, they travel to Ireland. I want people to be able to come to Edmonton and spend their money.
Yeah.
So these small businesses and restaurants, I want us to get serious with them and support them and build our streets very well and design our streets, different architectural designs, forward looking, not just, the way the city run is here is $3.5 billion. This is infrastructure every single year. Jasper Ave, there's construction going on. White Ave, there's construction going on. Anthony Henry, there's construction going everywhere. It's not a place if tourists who want to come here. They can't deal with that construction thing. Every single place you go, there's construction going on. When is construction going to end? So these constructions affect these businesses. Number one, it affects the number two. We need to branding is very important. Outside of Canada, no one knows Edmonton. So if someone want to come here, what is it coming? The question is, if you pick a place on the map, some people say, well, I'll go to Greece this year, or I go to Jamaica this year, or I go to the Philippines the other year. If people pick on the map, they want to come to Edmonton, what exactly are they coming here to see?
Sorry, Malik, I'm just going to jump in right now because you're talking about waste in the city, and you painted a really chaotic situation, a chaotic picture of what it's like to work at the city of Edmonton. I'm just wondering, I've gone through your platform back to back. There's no plan to cut waste on your platform. Is there something I'm missing there? There's no plan.
Waste?
Yeah, to cut this waste that you've spoken about.
I didn't want to use the word rain in spending. I thought about it with some of my friends. They said, no, don't use that word. It's just in Kenya is cutting everything. If you use the word rain in spending, people might think that you want to cut all the social programs and don't do that, So I find, eventually to use the word wasteful spending seemed to be safe. So I picked that word. But what I was trying to refer to is the $3.5 billion that we get annually through tax and from the province and also sometimes federally. So that money is wasted on things that are I'm not sure the people are actually asking for. And when they decide to spend money in things that people are actually asking for, it's not spent wisely. The example is the overpass that goes between the mall there, Edmonton Mall, and goes to the hospital by 82nd Avenue, Middle Arc. There's an overpass that goes between West Edmonton Mall to the hospital there. The overpass, they decided it needs repair. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be replaced. But and they decided the cost is going to be $8 million. And actually, the council approved that. Is that overpass the most pressing need in Edmonton? It is not. The homelessness has exploded here, and opioid crisis, the overdose is terrible. I had this conversation with the Edmonton EPS. President of the police union here in Edmonton, and he told me that this is terrible. I mean, we're on call 24/7 to deal with this overdose.
Hey, so Malik, I want to go back to we were talking about business growth a little bit there.
Yes, I want to go back to
yes, finish up that a little bit. So on your platform, one of the items you've Bull pointed it out was attracting foreign local investors to set up an investment promotion agency. Now, what I would like you to do is detail how does that differ from, let's say, for example, in 2015, Edmonton was designated as a foreign trade zone, which already lowered barriers to various, reduced trade barriers with foreign nations. And there's already an organization called Port Alberta that helps promote through that avenue. So how does that, what are you envisioning that's different than what's already being done in that space?
Sometimes anyone that is into marketing and advertising and branding can tell you. I mean, people talk about Trump, he buys the house, he puts the name Trump because that name is branding, Rockefeller, a Ford, it's a brand name, you build a brand like Napoli, Paris, once you mention that word, something comes to your mind. Trafalgar Square in London, something comes to your mind.
So do you feel that Port
Alberta
Alberta is not doing a good enough job to make that
No,
brand? Is that okay?
No, we're not doing enough job to do.
Or the city of Edmonton itself, right? You don't believe that they're doing a good enough job on that.
No,
What about Explore Edmonton, for example? The initiative that it's got a lot of followers on Twitter. It's got a lot of impact lately. Explore Edmonton. Do you think they're doing a good enough job?
For Edmonton.
No, Explore Edmonton.
Explore Edmonton. They're doing all right, but as a tourist, no, I wouldn't want to come to Edmonton. What am I going to see? There's nothing here for me to see.
Okay.
And also there's a lot of things that goes into it, my brother. I mean, Iverson ran as a pro-business kind of guy, a liberal kind of guy, liberal party kind of guy, or NDP or whatever the hell party he belongs to. But I don't think he's pro-business the way I see it. I think he probably liked their money, but their donations. But I don't think he actually care about promoting all the small businesses here. Otherwise, he would have done something downtown. Downtown is a beautiful place. It's historical. That was the first. Boy Street is the first street we have here in Edmonton, September 1st, 1905. That's where the inauguration of this city was done, Boy Street. That's a very historical area, but it's filled with homeless people and there's filthy and apart from the ice district that was built there, and nothing actually that is good is happening down there. I don't think
another point here, Malik, so if I may jump in, you have create or provide special economic free zones. I assume that's with Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How does that differ from the existing business investment areas, like the Edmonton Research Park, Kingway's business improvement areas? My apology, or the Kingsway Park or Northwest. So explain to me how that differs.
I mean, you might have a dealership and have all kinds of vehicles there, but nobody knows where it is. You have to spend money on marketing, you have to spend money on advertising, you have to spend money on branding for people to actually come to Edmonton. Those things, you might have those facilities, but if people don't know where you are, people wouldn't come to find you or look for you.
Yeah, we lost Tyson.
Sorry, that was my bad. Keep going.
All right then. Okay, sorry.
We're good. Sorry, my apologies. You just keep with your train of thought there, Malik. Do talk about the branding.
I was saying that you might have all kinds of business. You might I read the story of what's his name, Amazon guy, who was renting his buddy's garage when he was starting off. But it's hard for people to know where you are, who you are, what you're selling, what your business is all about. If there isn't any good advertising and marketing and branding for the city.
Okay, we might back to the marketing and the branding. That's what you're seeing. There's this failure. It's all in the marketing and branding. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I want to go back. I'm still stuck on the very first point, and I think Leah here was stuck as well because she's saying define wasteful spending. Because I'm confused.
Well, wasteful spending, there's no confusion there. Wasteful spending, first of all, the money that we've thrown into the LRT, $10 billion. That project is bleeding money and needs closely same amount to get everything done. By the time it's all done and true and it's functioning. Number 3 is the salaries. We've had more people employed in government. Their salaries are not cheap. Why do we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 engineers in an office? A job, 1 or 2 engineers is fine. Why do we have to have that? Those guys are $140,000, $148,000. That's their salary. When you have 7 of them in an office, do the math. It's too expensive. We cannot afford to have. We need more boots on the ground than having guys on suit and tie sitting in the office watching the Oilers play, like they used to do in my department during winter shift. They sit there, they watch the Oilers play, and their salaries are $148,000 a year. That's wasteful spending.
All right. Okay. Fair if
I may. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Platform item number 2 on your actually well-designed website. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Is diversify our economy. Now, your bullet points say tourism industry, and you've gone into that. Like people need to come here; they want to spend money in Edmonton. We get that hospitality plays into that, music industry plays into that, sports. What the theme I'm noticing here, though, is it seems to be, dare I say, blue collar orientated. What do you feel that you're neglecting, or so like putting the needs of those particular industries ahead of, let's say, I don't know, green energy or finance tech and those sorts of things? So what's your thoughts?
Finance tech is very important, and green energy is very important. I wrote so much on my Twitter account about green energy, especially I wrote that this week, I believe, because every time green energy is mentioned, the conservatives run for the hill, the liberals go on blame game, and no one actually want to do anything about it. It becomes so political. And yet, this planet belongs to all of us. We need to sit down and come together and find a solution how we can extract coal or extract fossil fuel without destroying the environment. I mean, it's if we're gonna in the future, this oil and gas is not sustainable. It's not gonna go forever.
That's great, but so we're talking about the jobs related to that, right? So
yeah. So when the government realize this is happening and decide, okay, we have to retrain people and go into solar tech for someone to become a solar tech, or marketing brings a lot of money. It's not an easy thing, but it brings a lot of money. Advertising and find robotics and find support universities, engineering department and finance departments to train people how to handle, because when you talk about green energy, people worry about jobs. But if they know they could get retrained and be able to have a certification for the job of the future, they wouldn't be so scared about it. So tourism is very important.
Malik, could you add this thought to your line of reasoning? When you talk, I'm just wondering, looking at diversifying the economy, I'm not seeing the jobs revolution that you're promising, even through what you're saying. Am I missing the jobs revolution that's coming?
The job revolution is when you talk about green energy and technology as to how to extract oil and gas and how to move us away from fossil fuel and invest more in capturing CO2. Which the way they do it now in Sweden and Norway, that industry is, employing thousands of people. It's on YouTube. Anyone could go and look it up. And we haven't thought about doing something like that here. And that such industry, it's an industry where if we bring it here, if we're not too scared about, walking away from fossil fuel, I think that industry will probably employ more people than oil and gas industry doing at the moment.
So is this what you're going to do if you win the election?
Well, no, I wouldn't do that when I win election because I'm not the premier. Neither am I the Prime Minister of Canada. But the way I will handle things is it's my support with the university, U of A and NATE, and support green technologies and support ideas towards that line. And that is what I'm actually talking about. I mean, you could have some like Iverson. I don't know what he has done so far, but someone who could come out and speak on this issue and let everyone understand that this is not something we need to, run away from. It's going to be here forever. It's not going anywhere. So we might as well just embrace it now and start training people for jobs tomorrow. Barack Obama spoke on those issues, train people for jobs tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So to expand on your I'm just going through the bullet points here. You've got free transit Wi-Fi in your diversify economy point. One, why is it there? So explain to me, why is it relevant to diversify our economy? And two, LRT stations already have free Wi-Fi. So how does that, are you just going to add more free Wi-Fi to the already free Wi-Fi, or?
No, I don't know. I don't know if they have. I have never used any of those since I was 14 years old. But
It's as of 2015-ish or 2016. Let's say 4 years ago, they added Wi-Fi to the LRT stations. But anyway, why is that relevant to diversifying our economy since it's full pointed in there?
Well, because when for example, someone could be going somewhere and got an email for a job interview or whatever, and he could say, okay, well, I'm gonna stop at the next train station and bus station and get a cab or a taxi, because not everyone has the money to have this data on their phone. And it's, I believe, when people could be able to do all sort of things no matter where they are. And also people are talking about lower the emission. If we're going to move people away from everyone owning a vehicle, driving a vehicle and using this transit, we have to incentivize it so that people should be able to say, well, fine, these are benefits I get from this, and then I could give this up for this. That's my thought process towards that.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the third priority on your website, address social challenges. And my question is, what are you going to do differently from the city in terms of drug users and to protect women and girls who sell sex?
Well, as far as drugs is concerned, we have to keep the drug at the safe injection site open. Right now, it's not open. I heard that we've received, I don't know, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, about $50 million to deal with that issue, plus to build tiny homes for the homeless. So, but that place, that doors is closed. And Iverson said that he had talked to Jason Kenney about some fund from the province to open the place, and he hasn't. Kenney hasn't done anything about it, and so far, that place has been closed. So I would, I don't know what the issue is. Either they don't communicate very well, or they don't agree very well. I'm not sure where to bring the funding, whether it's provincial or federal, to keep the doors open.
Yeah. So you would, if elected, you would do what you could to reopen that site, is what you're trying to get.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess to dive a little deeper, and let's take a step up a level. Would you say you prefer, you believe in decentralized injection sites or centralized ones? Would you rather have it all in one place, or would you rather spread it out?
I would like to have it spread out.
Okay, decentralized. And how would you mitigate residents' concerns? Because a lot of people don't want that near their house, right? Or they're afraid of let's say collections of people that need those services near there, and they might have certain concerns. So how would you deal with that if you're in that position, right?
Yeah, I was trying to work with AHS to deal with it, or also with pharmacies, incentivize some pharmaceutical companies to be able to help with that sort of thing. Yes.
Yeah. So you try and encourage. I mean, I'm not sure if mayors can do that, but you try and encourage using pharmacies as injection sites.
Yes.
Interesting. That's actually
to have a section where they could deal with that as well.
Okay, so Malik, day one, you're mayor of Edmonton. I want you to talk us through what it would look like in terms of finding easier ways to find jobs, provide training and certification for people under an Edmonton mayor, Malik Chukwudi. What would that look like for ordinary Edmontonians who are trying to find jobs, get the certification they need? How are you going to go about that? And what can you tell us about what it will look like when you become mayor?
A friend of mine told me that he could have taken a course as a skill operator when he was on EI. He didn't realize that the EI actually do pay for things like that. I don't know about it. I've never been on EI in my life, but with the way I wanted to do it is either through Nate or just to have Nate is a little bit higher up there, but just to have a training facility. We do have them here. We do have them here in Edmonton, but they're quite expensive. Like if you want to train as a skill steel operator, it's about $240. If you want to train as a Zoom boom operator, it's about close to $500, $600. Then if you go higher up, like dozer or grader operator, you're looking at $11,000, $5,000. if there's a way, because if there's if your company is looking for jobs, creating jobs is it's not hard, but it's also not very difficult, because I know companies as we speak that are looking for workers and they can't find workers. A company called Mid City, one of the supervisors there, his name is Tyler, is a friend of mine. He's looking for flaggers, guys that will stand in the corner with a sign, stop sign, slow sign, just to control traffic. And they're paying $21 an hour. He couldn't even find two people to do that.
So your plan is to work with colleges like Nate,
and companies. I remember when companies, when they hire you, they will send you to go and get those tickets and they pay for it. But what happens is when they pay for it, the guy it doesn't happen anymore. Because when they pay for it, the guy is up and quit, get a job at Fort McMurray and leaves the company and takes off.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyson.
Yeah. So another bullet point under your social challenges here is new permanent housing units. Pretty vague. I mean, everyone wants permanent housing. So what do you mean by permanent housing? Is this supposed to be affordable housing? Is it just supposed to be new housing?
It's affordable housing, because
it's affordable housing. All right.
Affordable housing.
And then what mechanism are you intending this to be? Is this like through a nonprofit? Is this like what's the mechanism? Are you trying to encourage it?
Be nonprofit, and I make sure that corruption is being controlled, because I've watched on YouTube and I spoke to people who say, well, I've been on the list for the last 2 years, and I've known people that just got in, on the list like a month or 2 months ago. They already got a place, and I've been waiting for 2 years. So those things shouldn't be happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that work there shouldn't just, approve housing for their buddies or their friends or people that are not even supposed to be there. From what I heard that there are people who make enough money, they're not even supposed to stay in those houses. They're actually staying there. So we need to control all that, make sure that corruption is rooted out.
When I read through your social challenges, Malik, your plan for women and children it's not clear. And I'm not saying
women and children, it's like women and children suffer. A guy could get a woman pregnant, have 2 or 3 kids.
What is your plan for women and children in the
women and children? Like jobs. Jobs are very important, because
blue-collar jobs.
Good jobs. If a mother could work and make enough money, he'll be able to take care of his kids, whether the father is there or not. So to protect women, to make sure that they're taken care of, because a man could up and go, but a woman will always hang in there, be on the street and beg for his children. So women need to be supported, and in any way, form, or shape. And when the economy tubes, women are usually the ones that are laid up, because they work all these administrative jobs in the office. So, man,
would Mayor Malik dip into supporting?
I like the sound of that, Mayor Malik.
Would Mayor Malik you see the resources with respect to childcare?
That's a good one.
I like childcare. I'm not sure what the BS going on between.
It's a topic that's being talked about. So if you were mayor, would you dive into this
Mayor
conversation?
Malik?
The CPC. Well, sometimes you gotta work with people, man. You gotta work with people, whether you agree with them or not. And I realized that with this child care thing, they have politicized it. They've used it as a weapon against the other party. But in reality, they say when elephants fight, the grass suffers. So when the two giants, whether NDP and UCP, or the Liberals or UCP, are going back and forth on this issue, the people that actually need that money to offset their income and help are the ones that are suffering. But I'll try to negotiate with Kenny, and if Trudeau wins the election, negotiate and talk to Trudeau as much as I could. I'm an independent, so
I've just got to ask you, Mayor, if you become Mayor Malik, and it sounds so sweet. I'm just wondering how accessible and inclusive you'll be to
I will have a
everybody.
town hall
Really,
meeting. I'll have a town hall meeting.
what would it look like to be able to reach you like this?
It'd be easy to reach me like this. It's not a problem. I don't think the way I am now, there are people who are not mayor and still they might be members of your family. It's still very difficult to reach them. I think anyone at any stage in their life could make it difficult to reach them.
So what are you gonna do other than town halls? Like that's once in a week.
I'm gonna have town hall. Town hall will be. I'm not sure if I'll make my cell phone accessible to everybody, but I'll make it accessible to the media. People like you
That's
guys.
a good one, A-Time.
It's not going to be for everyone.
Right, throwing the media bone, huh?
the media 100% should have my number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are there other avenues in which you would be doing outreach and connecting with your constituents?
Yes, everything now happens through social media. Trump did a lot through Twitter. Obama wasn't a Twitter kind of guy. But he has gone through so many programs, youth organizations and youth programs, and speak to young people, more so to encourage young people. I'll do that a whole lot, but also I'll be able to sit with anyone. I don't have a problem. I think the way I am now, I'm still gonna be the same when I'm there. I don't know. I actually don't see the difference.
All right.
People around me might have issues with that for sure. I don't have issues myself, but people around me might be the ones. But then I have to step in and say no, because they have to. Oh, you don't have to talk to this group. Yeah, some people will try to bring politics into it. Oh, these guys are the UCP guys. They're conservatives. No, don't need to talk to them, because they're starting conversations people have inside that people don't know that is out in the open. They say, oh, don't talk to this group, don't talk to that group. But I don't think that talking to any group will be a way to move people forward. You have to sit and talk to people that even disagree with you in every way. Obama did that.
I'm going to read you a quote because we're running out of time. You wrote, this is from Edify magazine. So far from what I've seen, I'm the best candidate out there. This is what you said to Edify magazine. Do you still believe you're the best candidate out there? Did you hear?